Shut up and sit down.
Welcome to the Bricks King podcast, where I'm going to bend your ear about Lego, review those amazing bricks of plastic, and discuss what is new and up and coming around the Lego world. I'm your Minifigure host, Matt. Let's build on it. Welcome in, everybody. How are we doing today? We have some winter festivity time set stuff to talk about because it is the holiday season. Things are getting cold. Things are starting to snow in some places. Thank God it's not here. It is getting to super low temperatures in Texas. When I say super low, I mean during the day it's like 55 and I'm like shivering all day. But it's to be expected when you spend the summer at 106, 107, 110 during the day, and it gets a low of like 85 at night. I have reason to complain. Anything below like 65, I start to get really cold. Anyway, with that in mind, winter sets, holiday sets, themed stuff, Christmassy stuff, things to celebrate the end of the year and, of course, the holiday time. So the first one we're going to talk about is the Wintertime Polar Bears. 40571 is the set number. If you are so obliged to go check it out, you can do that wherever you punch into the Google machine or whatever and find out what it is. But what it is polar bears, and they are super duper cute. The set has 312 pieces, and it retails for an easy $13, €13, whichever you prefer, wherever you may live. So straight out of the gate, this build is super simple. It almost kind of reminds me of like a Brickheads in the style that it is built. Not anything that you're like, oh my God, this is some wild stuff. No, not at all. Absolutely not the case whatsoever. However, it is a cute little set. It is a fun little set because the polar bears remind me of like the Coca-Cola polar bears, with the red scarves that they have around their neck and stuff, all white, just the black of their feet and their nose and, parts of their eyes, obviously. But I just love it. So there are two polar bears. The first is a rather large polar bear. It is, I'm assuming, to be the adult. And then, the other one is the juvenile that is here as well. Build is actually pretty nice. You do have this big bear who's sitting on his booty with his legs splayed out here kind of to the side. And he's actually got there is some texturing that goes on here, kind of with the chest a little bit, where you kind of get an idea of where like the breastplate might be. And then you also have a little cheese wedge piece here that's used for where the scarf is hanging down here in the front, that the rest of it's wrapped around his neck, his or her neck. It doesn't really matter. But the eyes actually look really cute. They are the printed 1x1 tiles for the eyes that have some black in it, and then the little white circle in the middle. Both of these are identical as far as what eye pieces are used. Those are the printed pieces included with this set. I just kind of like the small kind of nature of this. I can hold it in my palm, kind of curl it up. It almost feels like a baseball. It's a little bit smaller than a baseball, probably 2/3 the size of a baseball in total mass, I would imagine. But it's nice. It's a cute little build. The only thing that I did not like is when you wrap the scarf around to the rear, there is a 1x2 cheese wedge piece here, and it's on top of a Technic 1x2 brick, a Technic brick in the sense that it can receive a pin. It has a pinhole in it and a black pin that goes through it. Now, just below that, to the rear of it, you have another 1x2 cheese wedge piece that is in white. And the issue is not the colors of these two things, but that you can see the black pin between the red and the white. It's kind of ugly looking. It's kind of an eyesore. It's not a big deal in the grand scheme of things because, again, this is super tiny. It's not super large. It's not something that you may be displaying on a big shelf or something like that, even then, so you wouldn't see it. But if I had to pick out one issue with it, that's what it would be. The build was fun. The build was kind of symmetrical to the most part because, everything the whole way up is symmetric other than, the scarf stuff. But it was a fun little build. I did like it. It was cute as far as this one goes. The other one that you have is a juvenile. By the way, both of these polar bears sit onto the little base plate assembly, the plate assembly, if you will, by a single a stud, an open stud. Not anything wild or crazy or anything like that. It's just meant to just have slight a bit of clutch, and that way it can be displayed. The other one here, you got this little juvenile polar bear. He looks so cute. Oh my God, I just love it. You got the the black snout that is here. The rest of him is white. Does not have a scarf on. Same eyes as I had mentioned. The ears are closer together. So cute. And he's riding down on a red sled, a red metal. What are those? Red Runner. I can't remember what they're called now. Used to have them as a kid. We'd go flying down the hill in front of my grandparents' house, on the ice, on the snow or whatever. Love those things. But that's what this is supposed to be. It's a little red sled that he's riding on here. Got some nougat colored pieces for the attachment screws, and then the actual ski parts, the metal parts that are on the bottom of the sled as well in the same color, that nougat. I like him. He just sits up here. He sits slightly higher in comparison to the other polar bears. So they're at the similar or almost identical same eye height if you were to look at it from the front or whatever. But, it's just a mild little slope. It's not like he's supposed to really be sliding down or anything like that. So the other build that you have is where they're sitting, obviously. You do have some plates that are going on in here, some big white chunky plates that are here in the bottom with rounded on one end. They're good if you're looking for a parts piece or a set that is pretty decent value for kind of some of the things that you're getting. There's a lot of white in it, obviously, but it also does have this kind of cool minty color that's going on here for the surface of the ice. What it looks like to me, what it reminds me of is when ice freezes. When snow melts and then the water kind of becomes that weird like ice topping on top of the ice, you know what I mean? And you step in it and it has a distinct kind of crunch when you step on it, when you step down into it. And if you were to stop and you were to reach down, where you stepped or whatever, the hole you had created, and you were to take your glove or your hand, and you can kind of peel off that top layer of ice, and you put it in your mouth because that's what all children do. That's what awesome, fun adults do. Just don't eat the yellow stuff. No yellow. But that's what it kind of reminds me of, like this refrozen topping of a fresh snowfall, maybe a very light icing, not like a cake icing, but like a very, very, very infinitesimal amount of ice or sleet that has fallen on top of the ground as well. Anyway, so you do have that. That does look pretty as well. Then you have your little tree build that is here. It is completely brick built. It is super easy, not complex. All four sides are identical aside from the way that you arrange the lights that are on here. Two sides are identical, and then the other two sides are identical. You have this little kind of three-pointed star that's going on up here. I like it. It's kind of cute on top of the tree. The tree can actually be removed. It's only held on by a single stud, which is great. You do have two little presents that are under the tree as well. You have one that's in coral and one in azure color. I like it. It's a fun little set. For $13, what do you expect? You don't really expect anything way over the top. I mean, I just had this conversation the other day and talking about like Lego City stuff. With 2023 is coming and everybody's, talking about, what's coming? Oh, it's coming. I have no idea what is coming. I'm so curious. Let's see what happens. But this is the time of the year where everybody starts talking about that stuff. And then you have to start thinking in your mind price points, right? What do you get at $20 price points? You usually get a pizza truck. You get an ice cream truck. You get a snow truck. You get a plow truck. You get a tractor. You get something like that. So if you were to take that step back, that step down, that's where you're going to find yourself here with this $13 price point. I don't hate it at all. I think it's a perfect spot to jump into the game. It's a cute little set. It's something that you can sit out on a bookshelf. It's something you can sit on top of an end table, something like that. You can put it on your desk. I've got mine obviously here on my desk, which I've had for some time. I've been meaning to jump to it, but anyway, but we're here. There are ways that you can display it. It's worth the value, in my opinion. The price, obviously, everybody would love. What if it was cheaper? Well, if it was cheaper, of course you would say yes. If it were $10, I'd absolutely say absolutely no question about it. $13, I'm fine with it. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. This is not one of those things where I'm saying, oh, you, Lego said this to me, you absolutely have to go buy this. I don't know why I changed my accent, but I did. I just felt uppity doing it that way. No offense to anybody. Just being silly. So I think it's a decent value for $13. Not too bad. So the next one that we have to discuss is a Christmas tree. How many Christmas trees have we had? I know we had one last year. I remember what? I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, maybe. It's probably about 5 years ago. The big Christmas tree that you got with a GWP as well. That was nice. It was so cool. I really liked that one. But if I'm not mistaken, it lit up or it had to train it round and around underneath it. We've had so many trees, I can't even keep track of them anymore. But we've had a tree in the past, and we have a tree again this year. So here is the Christmas tree, 40573. It has 784 pieces, believe it or not, and it retails for $45 and €45, or if you're somebody that's cool, 40 British pounds. Hey, look at me. I'm paying cheaper around. I don't like you people. Darn you, Tom, and many others. With that in mind, let's get to the build. The build is actually quite large. It's not super tiny, and it's a lot more involved than what I initially expected it to be. You look at the box, you're like, oh, okay, not anything crazy. This is a 2-in-1 set, believe it or not. This is not just a singular build. There are 2 different builds that you can do. I did both. I don't have a problem with either one. I prefer the larger Christmas tree. Why? Because I like it to pair up with the other Christmas trees that I have in my collection. Why? Because you just need Christmas trees and they're all slightly different. They're just fun. Okay, enough of the silly. Let's talk about it. The first thing that you notice about this thing is that it's got a lot of stuff on it. A lot of stuff on it. It's got hearts on it, and they are opaque in color. They are not translucent, transparent. They're, translucent, not transparent. You wouldn't be able to see if it was transparent. You have hearts. You have different colored Christmas bulbs, not lights, bulbs, red and white, which are nice. You have candles that are on here. You have gold stars all over the place. You have other little white and red decoration as far as like little tiny flowers that they have and stuff like that, because that's what goes on a Christmas tree, right? I've never seen that. And then you have your base, and obviously your tree is this green color. Then you have your big 5-pointed star up top, which is fine. I don't have any issue with that. It's a solid piece, and then it's okay. It is okay. So the build assembly is quite simple. The goal of this is to be able to build tier after tier after tier. What you start doing is your first few tiers that you are building are exactly the same size. You just have a little bit of different detail that goes on. You might have a candle, you might have stars, you might have flowers, you might have the hearts, you might have the candles. I probably duplicated, I can't remember, but that is the theme the whole way up, which is fine. I don't have an issue with that. The way it is connected. So the center part of this tree has 2x2 round bricks with Technic axles that are going in there to connect them and stuff like that for your rigidity. That is essentially what is going on. So some of the tree, half of the tree is connected and half of the tree is not. The half that is connected, well, both halves are connected, but not together. They're not studded together. So the bottom half of this tree the first few layers, like I said, the builds are the same and you're stacking them up. But what you're doing is, so let's say the first one, you're looking at it from on top and you've got 4, think of it as like a plus sign. You have these 4 different these parts that are sticking out like a plus sign. Then what you're taking is you're taking a few tiles and a few 1x1 round plates. You're going to have tile, plate, then to the other side, tile, plate, then to the next spot, tile, plate, then to the next spot, tile, plate. Those 4 studs are what is holding on the layer above it. So you add that on, but it is not directly above it. You're going to angle it ever so slightly so that it sticks out, because branches on a tree don't stick out directly right in front of each other, on top of each other. That's not the way. That would be the stupidest looking tree on the face of the planet. I've never walked into a forest or a wooded area and be like, wow, those branches are literally one on top of the next the whole way up the tree. I mean, that would be some mad scientist stuff, right? That'd be genetic modification that is going on. The government. The government. It's the government. Yep, it was the government. No, I'm totally kidding. But you don't see that kind of stuff. You see all this kind of natural stuff. Now, Lego did their best to make this as natural as possible. But when you look at a Christmas tree, even a fake Christmas tree, which is what we have because, well, I'll let you in on a little hint. My wife has no green thumb, especially for things that are already dead. Like a Christmas tree. She can't keep it alive. So I'd be the only one fighting this losing battle to ultimately have this tree go out to a dump or burn it or cut it down. I'd use it for wood, whatever I could. However, you don't have these branches stacked straight up on top of each other. When you have an artificial tree, you have to bend the branches out. You have to move it here and there. And you don't bend them so that they're straight up and down. That would be stupid. That would make absolutely zero sense. So why would you do that? Why would you do that in a Lego build? You wouldn't. So everything is slightly off center from the layer below it, so that as you build it up, it's going to slowly, obviously things are going to repeat at some point, but for the majority of it, everything is just slightly, it's about a stud off, and it adds this really full effect to the tree. There's only so much you can do. And like I said, this thing is almost 800 pieces, believe it or not. And we'll get to that here in a moment. So at some point you get to the center of the tree, you put a 2x2 round plate on top so that you have the ability to, take this tree apart. Everything is not stud connection the entire way up. At that center, that midway point, it's not. It's to be able to remove it. So for instance, you want to store it. Some drawers aren't going to be big enough. So it's nice to be able to remove it if you want to store it in a bag or something like that. This tree is not, it's about a foot tall, if I'm not mistaken. It's pretty large. It's a big tree. I think it's a little bit more than a foot, but it's a big tree. So you have that ability. The top, though, it can spin because of the way that it is done here, which is fine. I don't have a problem with it. I think it's funny. It's on a turntable, though. Anyway, so as you're moving up, you're slowly moving inward, just a little bit at a time, a few layers, and then slightly inward. So instead of using 2x4s, you might be using 2x3s. And instead of using 2x4s with 2x3s, you get to a point where you're using 2x3s and 2x2s. So it is slowly closing up towards the top. Once you do get up to the top, though, however, simple, same as we've seen. You've got bricks on bricks, studs on studs, plates on plates. And that's how you finally get to the top. It is a cute little tree. The base, I absolutely love this dark red that they use. This burnt red that they use at the bottom is awesome. You have some white hearts that are used for decoration, as long as with gold ones as well. You do have what is supposed to be what almost kind of looks like holly, different colors of holly. You have a lighter green and you have a darker green, like an evergreen green down here. And those work as well. It reminds me of something like you would see in a square, like in a city square, where you'd walk in, and that's kind of you have to extrapolate from this the size of what this should be. If this were in real life, this thing, let's say, for instance, I know it's over a foot because I wear 12-inch. My foot size is 12 inches. So I know this is bigger than my shoe. This is bigger than my foot. So extrapolating that, I mean, this tree would be what, 40 feet tall? Something like that? I mean, it'd be massive. It'd be really filled out. It'd be really tall. A lot of decorations on it, obviously. So as far as a tree goes, how excited are you going to get about a tree? Are you going to get, you know what? I'm going to go and I'm going to tell everybody in the neighborhood, I got this Christmas tree from Lego. Look at this Christmas tree. It's so incredible. No, probably not. But if you do, kudos to you. That isn't me this year. That could be me any other year, though, potentially, or any other day. But it's a Christmas tree. It is nice. It actually does feel sturdy, thick, well built. So that if I were to knock it over, I wouldn't be like, oh my God, what am I going to do now? I just killed the Christmas tree. No. I don't have that feeling of sheer terror. So that is the main build of this. There are, however, 2 other builds that you can do. Your other builds are simple as well. You have 2 different trees. You have a smaller version of this tree to a certain degree. Instead of just having white and red bulbs, it has multiple different colors. So that is nice as well. But I like the height of this tree. But I could absolutely go with doing 2 trees and, putting them somewhere else. I will say the smaller of the 2 builds, because this is a 2-in-1. So the other 2 trees that you can build, the smaller of them actually works really well for like a Lego city. Or the other one as well, the bigger of the other 2 builds could be more of like a town center type tree. Or the one that I've got right in front of me, because I built the small ones first and then I went through and I built the big one. So Lego gives you a big chunk of parts left over. I was absolutely gobsmacked with how many pieces were left over. I was like, okay, I did the tree. There was literally a point where I went back and I was like, okay, I've got this. Like I knew it was a 2-in-1, but I still felt like there was way too much left. Are you sure you didn't miss something? Are you sure you didn't, overlook a step and forget to put, 2 2x4s and 3 or 6 2x3s? Like, are you sure, Matt? Are you sure you didn't miss something? I didn't. I absolutely didn't, which much to my relief. But yeah, all 3 builds, big one, medium one, tiny one, whichever you prefer. They're fun little builds. The price is synonymous with what we've seen in the past, $45 for something like this. And the thing that just, like I said, blew my mind with cost and everything was the amount of parts that you're getting here. I know you can only build 1 tree at a time. It's not like you can build multiple, but my goodness, it's much more than I expected. It really is much more than I expected. But I think you'll like it. If you've picked this up already, because I am late to the game on this, if you've picked it up, let me know what you think. I'm curious. Maybe you don't want to spend the money on it. Maybe you're like, you know what? This tree doesn't appeal to me like some of the others have. I get you. I like the base of it. I like the tree, but I'd rather have like a train running around on the bottom. I can be like, yeah, look at the train down there. How cool is that? That's just me. Something extra, something that makes it feel more Christmassy. This, like I said, it feels more of like a tree you would see in like a town square. They don't have trains in the bottom of a Christmas tree in town square. Not anywhere I've ever lived. Not anywhere that I've ever been around the world to be able to see Christmas trees. And yeah, it's just it's not something I think that usually happens. However, let me know what you think. Is this a yes? Is it a no? Is it an after the holidays? Maybe for next year. Maybe you're going to save it. Maybe it's going to be on a backlog for next year. Maybe you're going to do a holiday theme in the following year. Let me know what you think, because I did enjoy it. I enjoyed both of them. I think they're okay price. The build for the bears, yes, I think is fine for $13. This one, $45. I think it's a little steep. Maybe 40. But again, you look at what you're getting as far as pieces, and I can't hate on the $45, especially when you come out to about 6 cents 6.5 cents, whatever it is, for price to part. I can't really hate on it. So that's going to wrap up the show. I hope you guys enjoyed it. It's kind of festive-y, just kind of in a good mood, just chatty and enjoying being here behind the microphone. And anyway, so we do have stuff coming up. We've got Tom Jurassic that is going to be coming on here in about a week. At least that's when the show's going to release to you guys, where we're going to talk about all the Jurassic stuff. Finally, we've got some other stuff with some friends that are going to be coming up. We've got not like actually Lego friends, not like friends down the street or anything, or friends at work or friends at school. And then also the Avatar stuff before the new Avatar movie comes out. And then obviously we'll have a whole bunch of holiday stuff. So it's going to be a busy month. Make sure that wherever you are listening, you go give a like, you go give a follow, you go give a review. Let us know how we're doing. Do we suck? Did you like an episode? Did you not? Would you like to see something else? Always love feedback. And it always works well, especially social media. Always. It's almost immediate. It's a little bit harder on the bajillion dozen of podcast sites that are out there. Apple iTunes, I see every one of those reviews. 5-star reviews helps us everybody find things much easier. So keep that up. All you awesome people out there. I think we're going to have to start doing shout outs for that here coming up. Anyway, I'm going to get out of here before I say something more and on here for another 10 minutes. Until we meet again, I'm your minifig host, Matt. Let's build on it.